Okay, I've started the recording. You should be able to see my screen now. Okay. Can you help me confirm if you can see the screen and you hear me clearly? Then I continue. I can't read the screen, so yeah. Let's see. Let me see if I can. Nope. But you can see the screen and hear me clearly, or like the code and then the browser. Okay, awesome. I see someone's code is visible now. Okay, great. Okay. Okay, so let's continue from where you left off. So currently, when we load the page, we're able to fetch this Pokemon, and then we have some attributes that we can display. But with the use effect, we found out that you can also fetch this data depending on when a particular value changes. So let's take advantage of that. So instead of having this hard-coded URL like this, what we are going to do is that, Amo Ajosh, I want to ask a question. Can you go ahead?
Yeah, I was trying to tell you that your screen is no more showing. I don't know if it's showing now.
Oh, I see it's visible though. No worries, I can stop sharing and share again. Do you see the screen now? Yeah, it should be visible. If it's not visible, then it will be from your end. Okay, so instead of having this hard-coded URL over here that only fetches for D2, we can make it dynamic and get different information depending on the name that you select. So to do that, I've created a list of names. Okay, this could actually be like type data. So that is, so for example, you can create a type called Pokemon name, and then we'll set it to this. I don't know if all these are valid names though, but I'll just keep to the one I know. And then instead of string, we'll put Pokemon name over here like this. So if you were to make a typo, you say it will catch you. As long because you have the name. So this is just one advantage of using like the types instead of having it there as a string. Okay, but fine. You can keep it like this. It also works. Then over here, instead of having this URL like this, let's copy it. We'll get rid of it here, and then we'll use our string literals that we learned yesterday, and then we'll pass in the Pokemon name. But currently, we've not created this Pokemon name yet, so let's do that. So we'll create a use state that will contain that Pokemon name. Okay, so set Pokemon name. And then over there, we just pass in this empty value. So now we have this empty value in here. Now we're able to use this dynamic value over here. However, you notice one thing, that you need to set this name to, depending on what the user clicks. So now I have this list of Pokemon names. So let's do that. Pokemon names. I like to call the variables exactly what they do. So over here, let's use these Pokemon names to create a list of buttons. Okay, and this is in a thing. Nice. So we'll have a button and just a list of buttons. Then here will be name. Okay. And then when you click on that button, what you are going to do is on click, we'll set the Pokemon name. So set Pokemon name to the name. Okay. So this is what we'll do. When we save this and come back, you notice that undefined from it's fine. So the reason why you are getting this is because this Pokemon, if you look at the API call that is sending, it's just sending this. So the headers is just sending Pokemon / because the initial value that you have over here is an empty string. So by default, it will run that empty string, but that's not what you want. So to resolve this, we can do a couple of stuff. Okay, what we can do is we can pass here a default value called ditto like this. Or if we like, we can just pick Pokemon names and then we'll pick the first one like this. And when we save this, it should be fine now. Okay. So we have our nice. Now the API call that was made, it has ditto over there. And if I click on this, we'll go to it should make an API call to Bulbasaur, but it's not working. Okay, who can tell me why it is not working? When I change the Pokemon names, no new API call is being made. Okay, anybody can let me know what are thoughts? Why do you think it's not working? Any takers? If you can't see the screen, try rejoining because I can see the screen. Like, anybody, any takers on the question? Why do you think when we change these values, no new API call is being made? Okay, if don't take us, just go ahead. So the reason why no API call is being made is that over here, for the use effect to re-execute this, we need to pass in the Pokemon name into the dependency array. So if we do that, and then we save, when I now click on Bulbasaur, you see a new API call is made. If I click on Ditto, a new API call, Bulbasaur, Ditto, Bulbasaur, Ditto, Bulbasaur, Ditto. You see, so now we get like we're able to fetch data dynamically based on the Pokemon name. And we're able to do this by adding the Pokemon name into this use effect dependency array. Is that clear so far? Any questions? If not, we'll go ahead. Okay, awesome. Let's go ahead then. So over here, we can just go ahead and then add more names. I don't know if these are real names. If the actual Pokemon, but you can try it and see. And I click, let's see if we get data. Yeah, the actual Pokemon names. I click this one to Squirtle. Oh, nice. Yes, nice. So yeah, we do get some, yeah, you see the API calls we made, we get data. The UI is not that great too, but yeah, it works. It works. You can always improve the UI. Okay. But this is just to understand the main concept. Okay, how you can use this use effect to fetch data dynamically. Okay, when certain value changes. Okay, nice. Okay, good. I think this sounds good. Let's if this is good. Let's see what we can touch on next. Okay, so we've done routing. We've done some use. If we have even done fetching data from API. So we have the context API and then some state management. Okay, let's see. Hopefully I'll find something in this React context. Use context. Great. Okay. Okay, let's look into this. First, you need to create a use case around this, why it is necessary. So I'm trying to think about an example where we'll see when this React context comes into play. So sometimes when you are developing applications, you might want to pass various values across different components. For example, yesterday, if you take our name card that we had, let me just put the name card here. And then we have it like this. And then it requires a min length to be 3. Now, right now, you realize that wherever we need to use name card, we need to pass in this min length value over here. Now, this is not kind of a big case though, but let's say, I need to give an example. Let's say we have some components that is somewhere else, like, and we want that component to change the value of this name card. How do we go about that? Okay, so currently the mainlet value passed to this name card is kind of static. So let's say we wanted to make it a bit more dynamic. So what you can do is, okay, over here. So right now, I'll get rid of this Pokemon and clock import. Let me go back and import the name card. Okay, so now we have this. Then in this name card, I'll just display the main length over here as well in the UI so that it's visible for us. So main to be main length. Okay, so in our UI, you see that you see min to be 3 over here. This doesn't look that great. Maybe I'll put it in quotes like this. Then I have this. So let me see. Yeah, okay, min 3. Let me get rid of this CSS that we have. Let me see what happens when we get rid of all this CSS stuff. We'll get back to our default HTML. Yeah, okay. So we see enter name, you know the min is 3. Okay, when we come here, we change this to, let's say, 1, and we save. You see, the min also changed to 1. But here we have to change it in the code. Okay, how about if we wanted to do this more dynamically? So we could have an input, another input, and then we can have an input. And then we say, whenever it changes, we want to update this minlet. So let's create a state. We call it use state. Then the minlet by default is 0. Let's import use state from React, and then call it min length, then set min length. Then over here, instead of passing 1, we can pass in min length. And then over here in this input, we'll set it as on change. We want to set the min length to the event target dot value. Okay. We need to pass this because so pass int, then passing the string like this. Okay. So if I come here, then change this to 1, you see the min length of in this component changes accordingly as well. Okay. Let me add some break over here so that you can see the difference, and then maybe I'll put set min length or something. Okay. You see. So over here right now, you're able to pass in like 1, and then this will update this component's prop as well. So if I put Alfred, you see, Alfred, it's now start showing up after the 3. If I change this to, let's say, 1, you see, Al now shows up. You see, if I have Alfred, or something like that, it will show up. Minlet 5, it needs to be at least 5 before it shows up. Yeah. Okay. So this is an example of like we are changing these components props based like from the outside based on this particular value. And this required us to have this minlet like outside these components, because this value needs to be passed in anyways, and this value is what needs to be dynamic. So we had to create a state outside these components and then use it inside this particular component. I don't know if it is clear though. It's a bit tricky to get your hands on. Okay. So what the context allows us to do is that we don't have to like necessarily have this state outside and then change it outside and then pass it into this component. Imagine this component has a lot of properties. It means you always have to be ensure that the state are outside and then you pass it into it. Let's say this component also had another component inside that relies on this value, it means that component has to be inside this component. Like it leads to what we call prop drilling. So to avoid that, that's what the React context helps us to do. So let's see how we can make this a bit better. Okay, but first, to do that, I'm going to introduce the problem. Let's say this particular logic that changes the name card length. Let's make it into a component, and then maybe the problem will be more obvious. Set name card length, TSS. Okay, and then over here, I'm going to move this. Oh no, I'm in the wrong listen. Over here, I'm going to move set main length over here. And then I'll import our use state. Don't need this React. And then I'll move these components over there, like this markup inside this component. Okay, I need to create a fragment. Okay, there we go. Then over here, I can use set name card length. Yeah, now the problem is more obvious. So you see, now this may let this to change, but this guy set name card length. The logic is here. So how do we get this mean length over here? It's like, how are we going to do that? It's going to be quite tricky. So one way we can do that is we have to move this name card from here under these components to be here. Okay, that's what we have to do before before you can get it to work. But that's not how you want our application to function. Okay, if I get it rid of it, it still works. I have, I'm sorry, I need to enter a number. You see, it will work. But that's not what we want. We don't want, because like this length is set in this name card length, we have to make name card, like we have to put name card under set name card length component. No, we want them to be two separate stuff. However, I want to be able to set the length in this component, and then it should update these components. So there are a couple of ways you could go about this. You can use state management solution. Okay, you can use something like Redis. You can now there's one called Zastand as well. You can use that as well. I think it's more simplified, and there are different state management solutions that you can use. Even if you like, you can create a custom hook, and then maybe store those values in local storage, and then you can pick it up in this component. But yeah, those are different ways to go. But the way that I see kind of for like simple stuff like that, you don't have to go and use a whole state management solution. You can just use the React context. And this will enable us to create a context that we can share, and then we can set, like, we can use that with the context, you can set the value over here, and then we use that value in this name card without having to make name card, like put name card under this particular set name card length component. Okay, great. So let's see how we can set that up. I myself, it's been a while I've used it though, but let's see. Let's see how you can set that up. Okay, so from this example over here, what they are doing is that first you create a contest. So let's go ahead and create our contest. But this our contest is not going to be called team contest. Instead, we call it name card length contest. or is it too long? It's fine. Now we import it. Okay. So we've created this contest. Now the next thing to do is that what can we do next? I'm so not too certain on what we can do next. We have to wrap all the elements that you need inside the provider that is going to provide the value that is going to change. So over here, we can wrap this inside name card contest dot provider. Okay, and then we do the same thing for this guy, name card contest dot provider. I see some value being put over here. I don't know if I'm hesitant on what that value will be though. Okay, so over here you have the value set as the team, which is coming from this state that they have over here. Okay, let's do that and see. So it means in this state that we have over here, we'll move it on top over here into this component. And then we can pass the value as min length. Okay. I think there should be a better way of doing this. Okay. Create contest. Okay. The default value. Okay, default value goes into it. Okay, so 0. Default value is 0 in this contest. Okay, great. Okay. And the hotness on change, we can pass it into this particular component. Okay. Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm getting the idea of it though. Let's do that and see how how it ends up. Okay, so I don't think we need to put the states over here as well. So over here, I'm going to still keep my main length over here. However, I'll create this contest here, which is fine. But my main left, I'm not going to set the main length over here like this. I don't know what that to. Oh, that is a. If it says it's required. Oh boy. It's required for me to pass in a value. Okay, we are passing this value and see what happens. Okay. Then I can use the contest. I see that there's a way for me to use this contest over here in that particular component. This is quite tricky. I'm still not too conversant on how to go about this, but let's see. Okay. I'll set this to 0 over here. And then instead of having main length over here in our name card, we can go ahead and then use that contest. So no need for me to necessarily pass props here. Let me see. And just use this contest. So name length contest. I think I'll need to export this. Export. Okay, yeah. So at least we have this contest over here. That's what I was deliberating on if I needed to create the context here or not. But anyways, we have this context over here. The name card, I got rid of the props. Is it still there? Let me see. Okay, we still have it there. So I'm going to get rid of the props. So this I'll call it min length. Wherever we have our min length, I need to update that value. So here, okay. But before you go ahead, let me see if this actually works. Set min length. Does this run? So let me see. Of course, it will run because if I set this to a context, let me see, initial value, and I set this to 10. Okay, yeah, it does get updated. Okay, nice. But this min length value, I should realize, look, I'm not passing any prop into this name card. However, that value is getting like reflected from the context. So over here, when I set this to, let's say 3, and then I save, you see, the min length in this component gets updated as well. However, I'm not like passing any prop into this name card, but just by having this context, okay, the name card context wrapped around this name card, I'm able to get whatever value that is set over here in this name card component directly by using use context and then the context that contains that value. And I'm able to get it without using props. So that's, I don't know if you get, so that's one of the power of context. I don't need to pass in a prop to kind of do things dynamically over here. Now, the next thing that I'm looking at is how we can update, like using this set min length function stuff. We can update the value of the min length without necessarily having to use this set min length that we have over here. Okay. So let's look through this to see how we can go about that. Okay, we know how to get the context and use the value. The same thing happens here as well. Default, create context, use state, the form, set team. This is still using this guy from here. We want to use it in a different component. So yeah, usually we do things like this. You'll be reading the documentation to see how you can go about doing certain stuff. Okay, so currently you have what they have a function called login. Nice. And they're able to pass that function. Okay. To pass values via context, including objects and functions. You can do this as well. Okay, nice. It's good. Context value. Oh, great. Okay, there are some optimization stuff too. So what from the documentation, what I see is that you can pass in a function that can, like, you can pass in this current user, who is the value of that current user. Then you can pass in a login also, which is a function. So you can pass in an object, not just the value. So what I'm thinking right now is that if you're able to pass in this function as well, so here, let me have the null that they have over here. And then I'm going to pass in this as objects, main length and then set main length. So it's not assignable to type of null. There's no way I can automatically fix this. I'll leave it like that and see what happens. Okay, so we have min length and then set min length. Okay, let me enter over here. So with using this context, I need to destructure this. Or am I mistaken? Okay, let's see. Let's see if this runs. Oh boy. If you met a collection, use an array instead. Okay. Context is not a function, it is not iterable. Min length dot I don't really know why. Okay, yeah, there we go. Fine. So this is the context value that stores the main length. So if we have set main length as well, what I'm thinking is just like we use the context over here for this guy, I can go ahead and then pass in that context as well. But here I'll use main length dot set main length, and then I'll import this context. I import this. Oh no, what's this? I import this context also from React. I no longer need use state over here. Now let's see. Okay. Yeah, so you see, there we go. I'm able to set the value and then it updates accordingly, all from this context. So currently, this our name card context, it stores two things. First, it stores the main length and then set main length. Okay, because that's the value that we pass over here. So whatever value that you are passing in this context, any component inside can access these two values just by calling use context on that particular context, and then you're able to get the exact value that we want. And the red lines are because I'm not handling some null situations and stuff, and I've not properly typed the context. I just place null here. Okay, I'm supposed to actually properly type this context so that we don't see these errors popping up. But I just wanted to get it working before. So right now, you see, in this our set name card length, we are not using any states or stuff. We are just getting that function from main length, from the name card length context, and then we are using it to update the value. And the name card too, you see, we are just getting the main length value from that context as well. Okay, and with this, as you can see here, I don't need to pass in, like I don't need to make name card to be undersized to be a child of set name card length before I'm able to change values. That is like I'm able to change this name card value, the main length property over here. I'm able to do that without having to make the name card a child of set main length. If I do 3, 5, 2, 1, 5. The reason why the default is 3 because that's what we set over here when the component first load. So if I make this 0, it will reflect. You see, when it loads initially, it is 0. If I set this to 1, there we go. If I set it to 4, see, Alfred, after 4, then it starts showing up. It might take a bit getting used to, but like that's the main advantage of context. So you can create a context and then you wrap all the components that you want to have to use that context in the context provider. So you just do name context dot provider, and then you put that value over there. Now there are some things that I'm doing here. Usually, what I do is that I can create a folder called providers. Then over here in them, I can put, for instance, these context that I have defined over here, it will go inside. Okay, so let me do that. So I'll call this name card provider.css. I'll go ahead and then import this. I'll go ahead and then I remove this create context like this. This how could a bit cleaner. So there we have it. I'm looking into how it's not as how to get rid of these TypeScript errors. Maybe let me see if I can just copy those values and then put it over here. Let me see what will happen. Am I properly creating this type? Type context. Okay, and then maybe I can pass that work. Oh no, I'm doing this wrong. I need to pass it here. Yeah. Nope. Or null. Okay, I'll be able to type this. What else? What else am I missing? The location of this import has changed. Okay. What else am I missing? It's possibly not. Do I do this? Okay, yeah. So there you go. So we'll be able to like just type this context to get rid of these TypeScript errors. This will just help us in case I decide to change this thing to something else. Okay, so this it makes I change this value to like a string instead of the number. You see, TypeScript will help me catch the errors. But as long as it's a number, it's fine. Okay. So yeah, that's how you can go about like typing your context as well to so that TypeScript can help you. You make your code more less brittle. That's good. Okay, any questions on this? I know this is like quite a lot to take in. But just keep in mind that the main purpose of this contest that you have is to avoid prompt drilling. And that basically means if I want this name card length, okay, I want to have a component called name card length that is able to change the input length of this name card component without having to make the name card a dependency of set name card. We can use something like this contest to help us do that. You can also use state manager solutions and Raiders and then Zastan, and there are other ones as well. Let me just go ahead and then import and then fix this little issue that we have over here. Okay. Have I done this thing wrong? Oh, it's possibly undefined. Quick fix. No. That says this guy is also undefined, possibly undefined. So how do I handle this? Okay. And then main length dot length is greater than. Oh, okay. I can just pass in. Can I do this? Yep, let's go. So I can just assign some just to handle a situation when the number is not available. Of course, because I said it can be null. So we can do this. Yeah, I like TypeScript. Not to serve. It might you might not like it when showing errors and stuff. It just enables you to handle stuff, be aware of things. We saw the code run well without we having to do all this TypeScript stuff, but it's good. It's good to have. Okay, it's good to have, and yeah, our code still works. Unless you have more confidence in your code, that things are less brittle. Great. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. If no questions, I think that will be it. This contest is it's quite a yeah, it's quite a lot to take in, but yeah, yeah, good. Now there are some optimizations that we can make over here on this particular function, as they say over here. Okay, to avoid like some unnecessary renders and stuff. They do suggest that we can use memo or wrap our function inside use callback before passing it uh, into the context. Okay, so you wrap your function in use callback, then the context, whatever value you want to pass it, you wrap it inside use memo before passing it. Okay, this will just help prevent unnecessary re-renders. So that's something to keep in mind. I think I'll leave that to you to do as an assignment or something. Yeah. And then we'll communicate in the WhatsApp group about some projects that you can work on. And after that, yeah, we'll have to present it and then walk us through to see if you understand study so far. So with what you've learned so far in this lesson, you can build some simple applications as well. However, the fundamentals like is spans across. You can go like very far with just these fundamentals that you have so far. Okay, and I think that will bring an end to this session. I think we'll be able to touch on all the stuff that we wanted to touch on. So let's see. Yeah, we did some React tools, routing, context API, fetching data from API, and the state management. The state management is pretty much the same. Maybe let's just do it. It's just standard. We have this. It's practically the same thing, just mix out. It does something similar to the context API that we just use. Okay. They give us more global state management without having to do all these wrappers and stuff. Let's go ahead and install it and see how it works. So npm install just done. Now you notice that most of the stuff I go to the documentation. I don't have like all of this stuff off head. Sometimes I read the documentation to see how I can go about it. Okay. So I'll encourage you guys to also read use the documentation as well. So they say first, before we go ahead, we've installed the Zast, and then they say, your store is a hook. You can put anything in it, primitives, objects, function. The set function merges states. I don't really understand what it does though, but they say use store, then set, okay, states, and then I'm able to, okay, get some state the properties and mesh stuff. Okay, let's stop it. So over here we can put, what should we put over here? Should we make them, let me see, use store? Okay, so I'll put it inside a folder called hooks, and then I'll just call it store.ts. Then I'll paste this in. What else? What else? Okay, I think that's it. Okay, but as we don't have bears, we have main length. Main length, we call it 0. This main length, we call it 0, and then we have a state called set main length. Set main length. So we'll say that's value, and then main length to be that value. Then we'll go ahead and get rid of all this. Are we on the right path? Export use state. Okay, what's this guy complaining about? Okay, let me type it to be number. Okay, great. So we've created a store. Okay, use store, create. Okay, then how do we use it? They say we just do use store, then whatever stuff will get it. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's use it then. So in our name card, so currently we are going to, do I need to delete the provider? No, I'll keep the provider. But over here, just so that if you are following the GitHub, you still have access. I'm going to comment out the name provider, all this stuff that we have over here. Okay, so I've commented out the provider stuff. So if you come here, I'm not going to use the provider here, but I'm going to use this guy, and I'll call it main length. Let's import the store from, to use this Zaster React or just Zaster. No, you know where to import it from. Then state dot. Hey, no, use store from hook store. Yeah, I think this was supposed to import it from. And then the state has main length. Great. Let me go ahead and get rid of this. And then in our, is that it? No. Here we are using the function. So in the store, let's use the set main length because we are the set name card. This will call set main length. And then I think we can get rid of this. Okay, great. The states unknown, the type of state is unknown. Okay, because still we can set the type of this state. I'll leave it like that. Maybe we can look at it later. Okay, then what else do you need? You need the name card. Okay, so instead of main length over here, we'll use this. Oh no, let me copy. Okay, so this will be main length. Then we are going to get state.main length, and then we import the store from hook store, and then we don't need anything context related. We save this. Let's see if our application still runs or breaks. Okay, let me see. One doesn't work. The application doesn't work. We have use store. Let's see, maybe we are missing a step. We are missing a step. Okay, so they have use store. Okay, so first we get the use store, and then we have another use store that you need to pass in the value into. I don't really understand what's happening here, though. State dot bears. Um, I still don't understand. We create this hook, and we've created a hook, all right. And they have state dot main length. Over here, we have this hook as well. Then we have our store, which contains the hook that we just created, main length, and then set main length. I've spot main length wrong. Okay, and then the set takes in sets the value of main length to be that. Okay, so what else am I missing here? I don't understand. Then to use it, we use store, whatever value you want, and then you pick it up. So I picked up the use to the main length just to see if it's, oh, I think something actually did. Let's see if it actually works. Let me set this to 10 and see if it does update. Nope, nothing updates. Yeah, something definitely wrong. How the setup is. Maybe let me go to the guides before. Okay, so we have create state, combine, Zastan middleware. To have a board. So it's not as straightforward as I thought. Let me try something. Let me just try stopping the application and rebuilding it again. Nope. Oh. Don't really know what I'm missing here, but oh, okay. You have a function. You can use the hook anywhere without the need of providers. Okay, you select your state and the consuming component will render when that state changes. I'm really lost on what. Either I'm not importing something properly because this is use store. Yes, so this use store, unless I'm supposed to. Yeah, I don't really understand what's going on here because you have use store. I've created the store and then I'm using use store and then I'm getting this component. I'm using it directly in the component as well. Oh boy. Oh, this would be interesting if it's worked. Don't spend all the time debugging here, dude. So maybe I'll work on it later and then I'll push the code on GitHub. But this, like, how it's supposed to go about. Like this, I just supposed to. I don't know why it doesn't work. Well, let me follow a guide and see. The guide is quite. It's not that straightforward. You create a state, the type of state, and they have an action. Then you create a store. Okay, and then in the app, you use, okay, maybe let me change the name to something else. Use mainland store. Maybe something's confusing. So use mainland store. And then in my app, they say I just do whatever value I need to get. Then I select it. So over here I can do use main length store, and let me see. And that's what I'm doing. Use main length store. I get the state as a function, then I select what I want. And they say with updating name too, I can do the same thing. Instead of here, I can just change the name to use main length store, and then let's see. Maybe I'm using the generic store, that's why. And then in the function, you just call that. I have no idea what's wrong now. With TypeScript guide. What's a TypeScript? Um, yeah, this I'm just going to copy everything verbatim and then paste it and see what happens. Export. Okay. Create best state. I'm just going to use like best just to see what. I'm just copying the example exactly the way they have it. Okay. Use best. Okay, let me use their best and see what happens. If it doesn't work, I think we can just call it a day. Okay, so over here, I'm just going to call that function. Increase base. What does that function do? Increase by. Okay, so this is just a button. Let me just put a button there for it then. On click. Okay, and then in our name card, we show base. And just put number of base over here. Let me see. Okay. Okay, this does work. Then maybe there's an issue with how I'd wired up these guys. There's an issue because the state manager works for this. So I'm sure. Yeah, I'm the one who has missed something. Might be something tiny that I might have missed somewhere, but something is definitely missing in my implementation because you're able to you're able to get increased base. It works fine and practically the same thing that we have over here. So yeah, I'm definitely missing something. It's fine. At least we know the state management works. I'm tempted to just go in to see what exactly is the issue. So this mainlet state, instead of base, I'll just replace this with mainlet and then increase. Okay. And then announce by just want to value. Then here I have main length, set main length. the val, the min length. Okay. Min length state. Then I'll call it use min length store. Min of properly typed by component. Oh, so this one is it. So immediately I typed all my the store components, the error pops up. It's because we have the min length dot min length, min length dot min length instead of just min length. So that's it's good. So now if I come here, I change. There we go. Hey, I've used crash something. 3, 4. Okay. 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 I think the calculation here in the store is wrong. Yeah, instead of min length, it should be set, not, you are not increasing it by anything. So it should just be whatever the value is. So I think the previous implementation I had the right value, which was this. So over here too, I'll just do similar stuff. Okay, so the min length, we have a value of number, then we are going to set the state like this. Okay, so I refresh, try, excellent. There we go. Okay. So at least you see one advantage of the TypeScript as well. Okay, so just to avoid things like this. Once we properly typed our store and stuff, we set the main length and stuff, we're able to quickly see the error, why it wasn't updating. So this is another way. So this way, you see, we are not using the context anyway. I've gotten rid of the context. However, I'm able to still achieve the same thing without making name card a child of set card length. And I'm able to have access to this store and update stuff. And I can update this logic to anything that I want as well. And this way seems a bit more cleaner, if I may say. You don't have to wrap any store around this, any value, come and put any value here. You don't have to do any of that. You have everything in the store. Then you can just call this custom hook and then get whatever value you want to use. And then you're good to go. Great. I think, actually, these are a few debugging sessions as well. So it's fine. Okay, so I think that'll bring an end to our session. We've touched all the concepts that we wanted to touch now. Yeah, we've done state management as well. So we can call it a day. If you have any questions, this is the time to. If you have any questions too, we can go ahead and close our session. Okay. Okay. So in light of no question, maybe feel free to reach out to me on sosualfred.com. You'll see my details in case any stuff. However, make sure you go through the community page. Will keep you posted. Okay, there are some projects that you work on, and then 1 week from now you are going to demo, and then you show us what you've learned so far, what you'll be able to build with it so far, and then we take it from there. Okay.